So you're looking into buying a home, but frankly, the whole process seems a little intimidating and it just seems like it's gonna be a million steps and you gotta learn a million things and I don't really know if I can do it. If you feel like that, or if you feel pretty comfortable but just want a little bit more clarification, I'm gonna give you the whole home buying process in 7 simple steps. We're gonna go into enough detail so that you'll be comfortable with the whole thing and you'll get it. And I promise you that if you watch the end of this video, you'll understand. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Conor Green. I'm a realtor here in Tampa Bay. And there are loads of things that I don't know a lot about, but because I do know a lot about real estate, I promise you I can simplify this process for you into these 7 steps so that it just doesn't seem as intimidating, because it really doesn't have to be. Number 1. Let's first figure out whether renting or buying is the right move for you. Now, I made a video specifically about this, and there's plenty of other YouTube videos, blog articles that'll explain it too. But the reason I find this to be an important first step is because it'll really give you an idea of the 2 options, which is to rent or continue renting and to buy. And if you fully know the cost benefit of each, then it's gonna make you a lot more committed to your decision of buying or to not buy and to rent. Now, once you go through that exercise, number 2, which is an extremely important part of the process and is one that can definitely affect the trajectory of your real estate experience, is find a trustworthy agent. Now, just like if I go into the mechanic shop, I know very little about cars. So I really am at the mercy of the mechanic, even though I try to fake it like I actually know what I'm talking about, just so they don't, try to take advantage of me. But I really don't know what I'm talking about, and whether they are looking out for my interest or, maybe they're being truthful about what they're talking about, but they're really not looking out for maybe these few extra things that I also should be thinking about, whether it's some sort of maintenance item or some sort of upgrade or whatever it is. The same goes for real estate. This is your insider into the industry. This is your mechanic. You need to make sure you are not only working with someone that cares, because that is first and foremost. If they don't care about you, then it's gonna be very hard for them to be trustworthy and have your best interest at heart. And number 2, to have that level of competence to make sure that they can get the job done and they can put you in the right situation and in the right home. So after you found that trustworthy agent, you're gonna wanna ask them for a couple lender recommendations. And by talking with these lenders, you're gonna be able to figure out what you're pre-approved for, which just simply means what price of home can you afford. And after you figure this out with the lender, that pre-approval price, that's a tough one to say, that pre-approval price, that is going to be like your ceiling. So if you're pre-approved for $500,000, you could buy a home for $500,000, you could buy a home for $450,000, but you can't buy a home for $550,000 because you're just not gonna be pre-approved for it. Now, during this step, you're also gonna wanna figure out, okay, maybe I could be pre-approved for a home for $500,000, but lifestyle-wise, like I like to surf, I like to do this, I like to be able to support my parents in this way, I like the budget for X, Y, and Z. And so I really only wanna be, kind of based on the monthly mortgage payments, I really actually wanna be at a $400,000 price point. And so during this step, you're not only gonna figure out, okay, what's my price ceiling in terms of the max I can afford with my pre-approval, but also, what is the level at which I'm most comfortable at and makes sense for me lifestyle-wise. Number 4 is gonna be boots on the ground. And what I mean by that is you are going to get out and actually go and look at homes with the agent. So your trusted agent is going to be sending you properties that they feel is within your criteria and that you might like. You're gonna discuss them with them. And when there's something that looks really interesting, it's checking off all those boxes, that's when you're gonna wanna go check it out in person and start to compare properties. When you start looking at properties in person, you're gonna wanna test your assumptions and your preferences. Because let's say you start off the process thinking that, I really want a home in this neighborhood right here. But after you kind of look at a few homes in that neighborhood, you might realize, actually this neighborhood's a lot better. Or I find the value in this neighborhood to be just worth more. The extra square feet that I can get, the extra upgrades I can get in this neighborhood, outweighs the the niceness of this neighborhood, what the curb appeal is like in this neighborhood, for example. And so these preferences and decisions are all gonna be decisions you're gonna be kind of talking about with your realtor, but once you get boots on the ground, you can see it in person, is when you're gonna fully realize whether what you thought is what you still think, or maybe things will change a little bit for you. Step number 5 is once you find a home that you really like, you're going to work on an offer with your agent. They're basically gonna draft up a contract saying that my client, let's say that your name is, Steve and Lisa. So my clients, Steve and Lisa, would like to purchase the property from, the sellers, let's call them Bob and Nancy. And the property address, they'll put the terms in there. Here's their purchase price. They're gonna finance 90% of the purchase, X, Y, and Z. They'll be able to close in 30 days. We'll do a 7-day inspection. So again, these are some of the little details, and your agent will walk you through all of this. This is something that they're gonna draft up for you. You don't have to really understand any of that. They're going to explain it to you. But again, this is the stage where you're presenting that offer, and either the seller is gonna accept it, or they might counter it, which is basically just them negotiating on something. Maybe they say, I want your price to be up here, or a shorter inspection, or a longer closing period, whatever it might be. Now, number 6 is you go under contract. Going under contract means the seller accepted your offer, so now you are officially under contract. When you're under contract, you're going to do an inspection of the property. This is something your real estate agent should set up for you if they're not too lazy. The inspection is for you as the buyer. It basically is going to be a list of things that are wrong with the home so that you know all of those and you can properly account for them, whether that's, you're just gonna budget for it yourself, or you're going to ask the seller to fix it. Maybe the AC is leaking, or maybe there's some outlet boxes that are damaged, or there's some flooring that's kind of warped, there was some water damage in it. This is your opportunity to ask the seller to fix things, or maybe even give you a credit back at closing, so you can go and repair that floor yourself. After the inspections are done in this contract period, you're also going to get an appraisal. Now, the appraisal is for the bank or the lender that you're using if you're getting a loan for your purchase. The purpose of the appraisal, and what an appraisal is, it is simply an evaluation of what the property is worth. Think of like a zestimate. A zestimate is simply a way to measure what the property is worth. It's not very accurate, so I'm not saying it's anywhere near an appraisal in terms of, apples to apples or something you should really be looking at. But again, just another idea of what the property is worth. But the appraisal by the bank is going to be the best determination of value. And the reason the bank wants to do an appraisal is they want to make sure you don't overpay for the property. So it's kind of like a built-in safeguard to make sure you don't overpay for properties. Now, finally, number 7, after you've completed the inspection, you've completed the appraisal, all the work that was needed to be done on the property in terms of little fixes here and there are done. All the paperwork that the lender has done, you are what is called clear to close, and then you close on the property. The closing normally happens at a title company, and especially if you're talking about Florida, sometimes it could be like a lawyer's office. Those also can serve as title companies. And basically, you're gonna go in there, you're gonna sign a bunch of papers, a bunch of which is gonna come from your lender. You're gonna be signing all these documents saying, I'm gonna pay back my mortgage, X, Y, and Z. And then once you do all your signing, once the seller does all their signing, you now are the proud homeowner of a new house, and you're gonna get the keys. So there you go, guys, the 7 simple steps to buying a home. Number 1, go through that exercise of rent versus buy, and feel free to check out the video I already made on it. Number 2, and this one is very important, find that trustworthy agent. Number 3, get pre-approved and not only know what your max is in terms of that pre-approval amount, but also determine what you actually want to spend, what you're comfortable with and what works for your lifestyle. Number 4, get boots on the ground, start looking at properties, going on showings with your agent, and maybe going and checking out some open houses too. Number 5, you're gonna write up that offer with your agent, maybe do a little bit of negotiation with the seller, and then you're gonna finally come to terms. Number 6, you're gonna go under contract, which basically just means you and the seller agreed to the terms of the contract. So now you're fully under contract. You'll do that inspection, which your realtor will take care of. The lender will take care of the appraisal for you, which again, they'll take care of it, so you don't have to worry about that. And those things are just to protect you, make sure you're buying a place that A, from the inspection standpoint, it doesn't have issues that you don't know about, and B, from the appraisal standpoint, you're not paying way more for a property than it's actually worth. And then number 7, you're gonna head to the title company. You're gonna sign loads of documents. You might wanna take an Advil beforehand because your hand's probably gonna hurt a little bit. and you're gonna close on the property, and you're now going to be the proud owner of that home. So I hope that helps, guys. If you have any questions, definitely comment them below. And if you found this video helpful, please do me a favor and make sure to like the video. Again, comment below. Feel free to let me know, because that lets me know, and it also lets YouTube know that this is a video that is helpful to people, and it will allow me to create more videos like this for you. And if you want to learn more about topics like this, whether it's specific topics like this or even larger, more complex ones, definitely check out my YouTube channel. I make them all super easy to understand and nice and straightforward. But that's it for me today, guys. So until next time, this is Conor Green. Have a blessed day.